Will the mob boss back down from his threat against his former employee or issue an apology? Because of his unpredictable nature, it's difficult to forecast what Sonny, Maurice Bennard, will do on General Hospital these days. The amiable neighborhood kingpin from Port Charles, Valentine James Patrick Stewart, has alienated almost everyone he knows because he has been tampering with Sonny's bipolar medicine. He also treats insults like salutations. He has even gone beyond simple taunts and threats. Take, for example, his beating up of Dex, even Hofer, at the wedding reception, which left the future police officer with serious injuries. In the wake of his violent outbursts, Sonny would be wise to keep quiet. Although Dex hasn't filed a lawsuit for the assault yet, that doesn't mean he won't. Indeed, he received advice not to file charges from Michael, Chad Duell, Jocelyn, Eden McCoy, and Anna, Finola Hughes. The latter two were worried about a pregnant Christina, Kate Mancy, who would be compelled to testify against her father. Dex still has time to decide to pursue Sonny legally, though. For the first time since the attack, Sonny and Dex will reunite in person in the General Hospital episode that airs on May 30. Although Sonny may appear to be apologizing, viewers are aware that he is not. If Dex hadn't been with his old pals at the wedding and hadn't grabbed his arm, he might, at most, apologize for hurting Dex to such an extent. Sonny doesn't think that Dex just grabbed his arm to make him remain and listen, though Dex is unlikely to be affected by the words given how feeble the apology is. Dex even responds, telling us that Sonny is not at all the man he once believed him to be, so it was a waste of time to spend adoring him. We also believe that Dex may be implying that Sonny ought to be appreciative that Dex respected him enough to refrain from retaliating during the reception, based on the video that follows. That might inevitably cause tension between the two men. Having said all of that, we can picture Sonny telling Dex that he previously given him the chance to leave Port Charles if the two men's talk does take a bad turn. He might be persuaded by Sonny to return the favor and start afresh in another place, or by his kindness toward him. Knowing that Dex still has the power to decide Sonny's fate and file charges, it's feasible that Sonny will sweeten the pot this time by making a cash offer. In any case, it doesn't appear that Dex will disappear very soon. Unfortunately, Port Charles is turning into a hop of life and death drama with Dex remaining in the town, Sonny continuing on his downward slide, and Jason, Steve Burton, probably interfering between the two. Sonny's remarks to Carly, Laura Wright, and the scene that follows indicate problems, as can be seen in the video below. We'll have to wait and see what transpires in this developing conflict, but we're hoping that Sonny will soon learn about the problems with his medication. There are numerous issues that the revelation might resolve. On a recent episode of their podcast, two General Hospital stars honored their late co-star Johnny Wachter, who played Brando from 2020 to 2022, following the sad news of his passing. An honor. The Daily Drama podcast's co-hosts, Bradford Anderson and Steve Burton, honored Wachter by rerunning their 2020 episode featuring the actor under the title, A Tribute to Johnny Wachter. In light of recent events, we're going to save that for next week. And this week, share our first episode that we ever recorded with our friend Johnny Wachter. Anderson said, adding that they had already recorded an episode for this week. He possessed a certain strength. Anderson said, you experienced his extraordinary presence, his ability, his empathy, and his compassion. Burton remarked, I know if I called Johnny, he'd be there regardless, and that conveys a great deal about a person's character. He possessed a certain strength. Anderson said, you experienced his extraordinary presence, his ability, his empathy, and his compassion. Burton remarked, I know if I called Johnny, he'd be there regardless, and that conveys a great deal about a person's character. Burton concluded, we do have to celebrate people like this, but we also have to mourn people like this. before the airing of their 2020 episode with Wachter.